Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D Show. I'm your host, Bob Waltonspiel, hanging out with co-host, producer extraordinaire, Randy Walker. Guest this week, Aaron Wilkerson's in the house. You might know him as being the data guy. You might know him as the founder of Data in the D. We're going to be talking about the big conference he just put on it, and a life without AI. Is that a life worth living? We're not going to say agentic today. I just did shit. Okay.
You just did.
You can find us online, itinthed.com, and do us a favor. Give us a like on the social. Subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
So when you are listening to this episode, come on out later tonight to Bar Louie in downtown Royal Oak, starting at 5 o'clock for our monthly meetup.
No cover, no speakers, no salespeople, just a bunch of IT folks hanging out. Hopefully we'll get some. I always want more recruiters at these events because it feels like
a lot of job seekers and stuff. Yeah, recruiters
stopped going a while ago. I don't, come back if you're a recruiter.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could use you. But yeah, 5 o'clock until question mark. They're always a good time, and I won't be there, so it'll even better time.
We'll be in the back room, or it's not really a room, the little back little alcove. Yeah,
back
towards the back of the restaurant.
When it was the Black Fin, when I used to DJ.
That was the Black Fin.
That was our first pink slip party. That was on the news.
Right, that was huge. I used to live in Royal Oak. I remember when they first put that as a Black Fin. That was a big deal at the time when they made that.
My favorite, I was one of the first DJs they hired there. And I used to do Saturday nights because I worked at the Post Bar before that. And my favorite was, if you don't play my song, we're totally leaving. Meanwhile, there's like 150 deep on Main Street. I'm like, if you leave, there's like 5 ready to, good luck with that.
I remember those days of downtown Royal Oak being the place to be.
It was. You go there now, and it's just everyone knows as soon as
it's different.
They don't Birmingham on Royal Oak, and they went high rent, and that's what happened.
There's a lot more stuff there, and
they're Royal Oaking the Ferndale, and now they're Ferndaling the Hazel Park. I don't know which one's next. Don't Hazel Park my.
Yeah, because I remember the Barnes and Noble that was there,
totally, yeah.
And now it's a Buffalo. Is it still Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh, there's a Buffalo Wild Wings. There's a Hopcat now.
They had a Caribou. Caribou Coffee was across the street. I remember going there a couple times. Now it's some other coffee shop.
Is that Atomic Coffee now?
Yeah, I think it's Atomic Coffee.
Atomic Coffee, nice. Yeah, I like it there. We do. Yep. I think I met you there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You're right. You're exactly right. Yeah, a lot of my place was always the bakery. It starts with an A.
Astoria.
Yeah.
They have their location in Greektown. And one in downtown. Yeah, and one in Royal Oak. Yeah, 2 locations.
Yep, I used to go to Astoria out there back when I lived there.
The one I didn't like. Sorry, I don't mean to call them out. I usually say the Mr. B's. What is it called now? It's called like Alchemy.
Yeah,
but you go in there and it has the Mr. B's bar and the Mr. B's it looks like just Mr. B's.
I don't think I've been
with
down
drapes.
There.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Like the speakeasy vibe downstairs.
I remember going to Mr. B's. Yeah, all those spots we used to go back in the day.
See, that's every neighborhood needs a B's. It's like the neighborhood bar. It's like the Rogers Roost, just the normal, like the wood floor, the peanuts and popcorn. Not a lot of selection of booze and beer, just good burger. Anyway,
yeah.
So you just pulled off something. I'm kind of mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm happy for you. So the IT and the D name came from us wanting to do a conference. This is going back at least 10 years. And then, longer than that, because we've been 20. IT. Is it? No, when this name came out, maybe it was 15 years ago. And we just did the pink slip parties instead. We can never figure it out how to put content. But you went out and pulled it masterfully.
Yeah.
Or dare I say, talk to me about that process of doing your first actual content driven, legit sold out conference.
Yeah, I gotta give you credit, Bob, because remember when we first talked, because the Data in the D started back June of last year, and at the time we didn't really have a name. We were just low key Data Happy. I remember talking to you you got to come up with a better name. And you're like, how about Data in the D? I was like, that's a pretty good idea. So. We had a couple meetups, and then I started emailing our membership, or essentially our people register, and say, hey, we got to come up with a different name. So we tossed around a couple of different ideas. Like Data in the D was one of mine. There was also Detroit Data Club or Detroit Social Data, something there's a couple of different names. So we ended up going with Data in the D. So that just started January, February this year when we actually came up with the name of Data in the D. We have these very similar to you guys. We have these low key happy hours where since June of last year, each month we all get together. We don't charge anything. There's no sponsors, no sales. Just show up, pay for your own alcohol, meet a couple people that work in data, go home. So they've been very successful. So we got a lot of feedback of people saying, we love these, but we also we love to also have some more content. So, because ours is very much people kind of come, they talk to each other, they kind of have a good time, meet a couple people.
Friends in the business.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, there's always a population of people who just don't like that kind of thing. So some people want to network, but they don't want to go to bars. They don't want to go out, on a Wednesday night. They got kids and families. So we were getting feedback of, we would love to have something more like speakers, content and things like that. So we just threw the idea of, why not a conference? So
you skipped over the whole user group thing. No, I'm just being honest. Cause if that would be my first thing, if somebody says I want content, well, cool. We'll do a user group every other month.
Yeah. And I think for us, because I have a couple co-founders, there's 4 of us total, and we were trying to keep it very simple. And I part of the genesis of us was that pre-COVID, there was all these different the data user groups and things like that, but they had just all died during COVID. COVID killed. Then we had a DAMA chapter. There was there are all these different meetup groups around data. They were essentially user groups. They have a sponsor. You go to a corporate office. There would be a speaker there, a demo, but all those died. So that's actually a lot of the feedback we get is people are saying, I'm trying to find something in the area, and that's how they find us.
Right.
So I think we kind of went to the other extreme and said, let's do a conference. So that was March. I mean, I was end to end. It was 8 months. So we started March of this year. I went to our co-founder and said, hey, I think some people would be interested in doing a conference. And I kind of shopped around the idea, and people said, sure, let's try it. And then May is when we officially kind of started planning for the conference. We kind of put together some kind of ground rules of how this is going to look like, what we want to do. And then June is when I reached out to a person I knew who was an event planner, because we knew that we're all full time. Just we need someone. We needed some help. So June is when I reached out to a great event planner. Her name is Stephanie Seville, and I said, Stephanie, we need help with this. At the time, we had no money, so we had no sponsors. Right. We had no registration. So I was like, Stephanie, I need you. We'll figure out how to pay you, but there's no way we're going to do this by ourselves, which was a great move because she was the reason why the conference happened. And then July is when it officially kicked off. So, I mean, from actually launching it on Eventbrite and LinkedIn to kicking off the conference was 4 months. So
it was crazy.
It was a very quick thing. And I remember being nervous so often just because at the beginning, there was no money. There was no sponsors, no attendees. So we were footing the bill a couple months before we actually got some sponsors in there. So a lot of things just happened pretty quickly for it all to come together. We lucked out, so we went over to Techtown.
Okay.
So we went to the Industry Innovation Center at Techtown, sponsored by Wayne State. So we found a very low-cost location to have it. And they have a very lovely, I don't know if you've ever been there before, but
pictures look great.
Beautiful facility. They have a big auditorium, meeting spaces, very affordable. So we lucked out in terms of finding that place because, as you know, nothing is cheap in Detroit anymore.
Aaron, do you remember when we did our first Pink Slip party at St. Andrews Hall? Packed it.
Yep.
Packed it. We had over 1,000 people there. I don't even know if I want to say this. It was $700 to rent it from 5 to 8. And I said, everybody's on their own for buying their own drinks.
Oh, not possible.
I tried to call it now, and I said to do it again. And I think it was $7,000.
Yep.
And I said, I won't, I can't. I thought the Majestic was $1,500 when we booked it back then.
Yeah.
And it was like $8,500, I think, just to open the doors.
Yeah.
Masonic don't even bother. At this point, don't even call.
And that's bare bones. No anything. It's just, we'll let you in the doors. We'll have some bathrooms. You're on your own.
Well, it's one thing, because I remember we tried to book Russell, and they just got an M&M video, and GM did a car show, and they did something else corporate. They got Rocket, did something. And then once they taste that corporate money, and I tried to tell them, we're grassroots. We don't make a dime. Yep. We are totally doing this. We're community driven. Don't once they get the taste, the corporate money. So it's I'm happy you found a good space.
Yeah, we lucked out with that because we did a very bare bones budget of, because the Techtown location, they're limited. They only have, I think it was 140 people in the auditorium. So we already knew that we already capped the amount of people we can have. So we kind of did this bare bones of, all right, what's the minimum we can actually have this event and like not go broke? Because because none of us are paying out of pocket. We're like, this needs to pay for itself at a minimum. So the budget worked out. And once I started socializing, we had a couple sponsors came in. So it kind of slowly kind of had this flywheel of just kind of support, people being interested in it. I know some people on LinkedIn reached out to them, so they were excited. So they started sponsoring. So the money started coming in pretty quickly. I would say like in August. And then we did a call for speakers. We had a bunch of people reach out or apply to be speakers back in August. So very, very tight timelines to make all this come together. But I would say we knocked it out. I mean, I think it was a great event. There's great sponsors, great speakers, great attendees. I would say we also sold out. So it was capped around 150. And towards the end, we actually had to turn people away. A lot of people wanted to sign up, but we said, sorry, we're already at max capacity.
Nobody plans in this town. They all show up at the last minute.
Well, exactly.
It's totally a thing.
And that's that's what's tough about doing events is that, and someone who also does events told me that is, you probably have half the people sign up about a month before, but in the last couple of weeks is when people start signing up. But you're so like stressed out and nervous because like no one's going to sign up. This is going to be a fluke. What am I doing here? But like you said, like it's just the week of is when people just started trying to sign up, and it's like, hey, we're already at capacity, man. But so definitely a nerve-wracking experience. But I'm glad we went through. Like it's a great event. We had Mudgies come and cater.
Oh, fantastic.
We had a bunch of Fago there, so we really tried to really hone in. I had a great playlist that I put together, kind of background music for it. So my thing was always I wanted to make sure the conference was in Detroit. Like we're called Data in the D. We started here in Detroit Shipping Company. So my thing is that the conference should, and as long as I'm around, it will always be in downtown Detroit, or to best ability, downtown Detroit. So it was a cool kind of local way to kind of, bring homage to the local Detroit area and kind of bring in a lot of folks downtown on a Saturday in November.
How did you fight the sponsors, like being the keynote and doing all the content and making it like vendor pitches? Were you like, I know you're diligent about that. I just want to hear you say it. Just to make sure the content was on the up and that wasn't a feature benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. Programming was a big one, trying to figure out the agenda because, sponsors pay for the event.
Yeah.
We only charged about $100. We want to keep it somewhat affordable, but someone else got to foot the bill. So, we kind of did our first pass. I would say we undercharged for sponsors, looking at it in retrospect, but still we were very clear with our sponsors of, this is a practitioner conference. We don't want you guys coming to just show your products. Like we want you to give us content. It's okay if you talk about your product, but make sure you bring along an actual partner or a company actually using your stuff. So I think they were pretty respectful. The biggest thing for us was the attendee list because everybody wants your attendee list. And we said, hey, we have a like this sponsor level and above gets the attendee list, but under that, you don't get that. But that was a fight of just going back and forth because for some people, sponsors forget, hey, what did we sign up for? And did we get attendee list? Yeah. No. Do we get attendees list? No. So it's just, even like this week afterwards, like someone couldn't come because of flight issues. They said, well, since we couldn't come, can we get the attendees list? Like, no, you can't. Like,
just to put on your drip. No, I had a long conversation with that because we spoke at a small little thing today, and like they wouldn't get. I didn't ask for the list, but I didn't want it, and I was talking to some people, and I go, "We're not going to put you on a drip, Matt. Like, I promise you that. Like that, I'm super anti.
Yeah.
Unless you're a client, and we're giving you information. Like we're not. I don't get what that gets you. As it like. You can just look up on LinkedIn who works where. Like, it's what's funny? I don't know why that's so.
We had a good range of big and small companies. The small companies never asked us about attending lists. I talked to a guy. He's like, no, I can get everyone's email. He said I can purchase email lists pretty easily. They're like, I don't need this. They're trying to get more exposure, but it's the big companies. They were like, hey, can we get the attendees list? Can we get a table? So it's interesting, like with the bigger, larger software companies, how much of that the big deal.
The marketing's all scientifically, it's all tracked. They need 10x return, and they're all tagged in Salesforce.
Yep.
I'm just like insider baseball. Like, and then you look at the year end going, all right, we invested how much in this, how much, and then did anything track?
Yeah.
And then now we know where to spend next year.
Yeah. And how many deals it's a lead attribution, right? You attribute this lead to this event, and then does this person convert? So it's all like numbers and things like that. Right. But to your point, it's it's interesting. Just certain sponsors were a big deal about that, and certain were like, we don't care. Like, we just want to support you guys. Like, we love what you guys are doing. We're gonna throw some money your way, and they didn't, intend to get any leads out of it. But it was just interesting. Sponsors were a big deal around just trying to figure out, because someone at tables, and we said, hey, because we only had I think 10 spots. But then like, hey, can we get a table? We said, no, you can't get a table. Like, can we get a table? Like, no. So it's a lot of back and forth trying to navigate, sponsors and for these things. So a good experience though.
How'd you curate content and not make everything AI?
So we broke it into tracks. So we kind of said a data culture innovation track. We had a analytics and business intelligence track. We had a data engineering track.
Okay.
And we had like an AI and data science track. Because we know that, we've done these meetup events for a while now. So everyone's not working in AI. Like most people I talk to, very few people are working AI. Most of them are data analysts. They're doing very straightforward analytics and data engineering work. So if you talk to actual people doing like as part of their full-time job, it's just not that much. So I think people are interested in it. And our keynote talked about it, but I think we wouldn't do people justice if we only talk about AI the whole entire time, because it just wouldn't be relevant if we have mainly practitioners there.
It was interesting because we spoke on AI today, and we brought up the MIT study that everybody talks about, saying 95% of all the money that got dished, nobody saw any value on it. And so that's what we were trying to steer that conversation to, like, where you can find value.
Yeah.
And it was also funny, like, people don't care. Like the original math was, we put in Copilot.
Yep.
Everyone saved 2 hours a week. They make $50 an hour. So we saved 100 per person. And then we doubled down on it, saying, well, what's that person doing with that hour they saved?
Correct.
And I go, that's where the value is. Are they innovating, or are they sitting at the coffee stand? So it's there's a lot more conversations going on now, like going, all right, cool, now what? Okay, cool, now what? And it's changing every week. They go, we can build this whole POC thing, and in 2 weeks we have to completely rebuild it. Yeah, that was the theme of almost the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge. Is you have a lot of people, they talk about AI strategy, they tell you about Copilot, which is what, $20-$30 a month. So, and like to your point, I think the tricky part with productivity and more efficiency is that you may save some time, but the question is, what are people doing with that extra time?
Yeah.
Because humans will always find ways to fill their time with things. So Copilot may have saved you an hour of like not having to write up meeting minutes. But what are you going to do with that? Because if you go to your executive and say, yeah, we saved 100,000 hours, they're going to ask, okay, like, are we going to not hire more people, or what are they doing with that? Because that's not the silver bullet in your AI strategy. Is just saying, first off, Copilot is not your AI strategy because everyone has that, so it's not really doing much. And what are you going to do with all the extra time in terms of innovation or like making more sales? Because it's not just going to be on Copilot and just having AI transcriptions.
So, being in the data world, working for a global brand, and where data is, I would say, everything is it. I mean, that's probably their most valuable asset other than their IP or their product. How do you look at which lens do you look at? Are you looking at data IT wise? Are you trying to mold with the business? Because that was a big conversation we had today too, is the problem is like the IT stays in IT, business stays in business. A lot of times they don't talk, and you need the stakeholders on the business side. They're like, hey, we need AI. Well, what does that even mean? Right. Unless you got business stakeholders at all levels. Right. I guess how do you view it, or what do you through a modern data stack?
Yeah, so we even had like a large quarterly meeting last week, like with our directors above, and we had a speaker come and talk about AI, just kind of laying out AI. And it's interesting. He asked a question about who uses AI every day, and I would say more than half the people raise their hands. I think now with ChatGPT and Claude, on these tools, people are used to using AI for like
searching,
ideation, or like, hey, I'm thinking about even like planning events. I know a lot of people just use AI to actually plan out their entire workshop because it does great things like that. So then we also kind of had some workshops where we said, okay, work within your own group. So, with sales team, direct to consumer, supply chain, and come up with some ideas around, okay, how would you guys use AI? So I think a lot of it is just getting people thinking about different ways to do things, and are there more efficient ways to do things, or how can we use this to kind of move some big rocks that may not have in the past. So I would say we're very much in the roadmap of just getting the business to think about it and kind of figuring out, okay, for each department, like what would the AI roadmap look like? Okay, what data would you need? What capabilities would you need? So I think we're very much in the use cases, trying to really find the strong use case to build out the strategy. And then, also in the back end is how do we make sure we're AI ready from a data perspective? So how, from a technology perspective, we're doing some things with Databricks. We have a data science team doing some things with kind of also how do we get ready? Because imagine if everybody just showed up one day and say, hey, we know exactly what we want to do. Like, are we even equipped to execute all these projects? Which probably is not right now. But I would say there's a lot of, like, we have some people in our data team who are really having a lot of just face-to-face conversation with the business, just to kind of have workshops, thinking about what they can do with it. So I think that's a lot of it right now. I think a lot of companies are in the same too. They're just trying to come up with the use cases, the art of the art of the possible, really trying to figure out what to do and what could you do with it and what makes sense, right? Because some use cases that's just a simple automation you don't need, because AI is not the solution for everything. You don't want to use this huge hammer on something that you can just kind of really just take care of it yourself. So that's also the question, is feasibility of just what makes sense and what do you try, what makes sense or to POC. There's also too many POCs where it goes to production. So that's a big question. That
was the running joke today too, was POC sprawl. Like we can POC everything. And I think people get stuck in this like, oh, let me POC it. And they think that's the end all be all. And it's kind of like, what do you do with it then? Like what happens now?
Exactly. And who's going to support it? I mean, we've seen this before. I always say, go back to think about Excel macros and Access database, where you have that really smart guy or gal who can create these amazing Access databases. And what happens? They leave the company.
They get hit by a bus. Yeah,
exactly. They all of a sudden they're gone and no one else knew how this thing worked. So then all of a sudden it goes to your IT group and says, hey guys, we have this thing. We don't know how it works. You guys figure it out. So I think to your point, the POCs, where the tricky part is that with all these AI tools, it's easy to spin up these different things, but if no one understands how it works, if it's not part of it's embedded into the process, or you don't have a strong foundation, either it's going to fall apart, no one's going to use it, or you can't support it, or it can't scale. And all of a sudden you give it to IT and they're like, we don't know what to do with this thing.
So I grew up in a world where like the stack got converged: network, server, compute, storage. And then it all got converged basically because it was tough to spin stuff up, because you had to call the network person to provision. Then you had to call compute to provision, then storage would roadblock. And it's funny, the same conversations are going on now, but it's in data. Mm-hmm. And, hey, I need to turn this thing up. Well, now we got to go get the Databricks admin. He's got to open something up for me. And then this, and we're, the way he did the roadmap was like almost like 2 months out before they can even spin anything up.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, we're back to 98 converged infrastructure, but now it just got shifted to your side of the world.
Well, a lot of it, I would say, is network traffic. I mean, in the previous place I was at, there's a lot of discussions because you have all these different zones where you have applications sitting in one spot, you have your servers in one spot, but you have to kind of open up these connections where they can tunnel. So Databricks can connect to my applications here, my data there. But then you have to open yourself up to like, okay, are there security issues? Should it be connecting? Should you be pulling things? So I know a lot of people talk about spinning up things quickly, but there's a lot of just back-end infrastructure just to make sure that, do you have prod environments going to your devs and devs going to prod? Do you have firewall rules? There's tons of just, but you said now it's not the actual cables anymore. It's all up in it's in the cloud trying to set these things up. And
now you got Kafka, like, basically real streaming data. Yeah. It's driving me nuts though, the marketing people getting a hold of this with the data clean rooms, with the, what is it, data lake house.
Yep.
Now I'm like, oh my, like, can they come up with any? I think we get it. Like it's a management console inside of a data lake. I get it. Like you don't need to call it a data lake house, but God love them.
We went from data warehouse when I first joined, when I got started, then it was data lakes, and then now we have lake houses.
Yeah.
And now we have lake houses.
They're data platforms now.
Was that?
They're data platforms.
Data platforms. Yeah. And it really, at the end of the day, a lot of them are very much the same. I mean, when we went from data warehouses, which are databases, to lake houses, which are really just kind of like storage,
blob storage.
Blob storage, which you have at the end of the line, you have maybe a database interface, but I mean, it's really just very similar thing. You're just kind of dropping information in different storage containers.
The word big data went away.
Oh my gosh, big data.
Do you remember that was what, 4 years? That was the key.
Oh my gosh.
It's like data, but it's big. That's what I used to always say.
Oh yeah,
that's gone.
And I mean, everyone had FOMO. I mean, I think I remember back in the day, I wanted to be part of that because it was Hadoop. Everyone's talking about Hadoop. Yeah. It was setting up these large Hadoop clusters and like in Pig and Hive, and just the idea was just throw all your data in there. You create this huge, and that's where the data lakes came from, right? So it's like, you throw all your data into this big Hadoop cluster, it can process these things, and all of a sudden magic happens, and then people spend millions of dollars on these huge Hadoop clusters and infrastructure, and nothing ever happened, and a lot of people probably got fired from
because the business plan was dump your data in profit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, data blank profit. And I think that was the thing a lot of people said was, there has to, we have all this data, why can't we do something with it? We have all this data, there has to be something in there. So you're assuming that you have a signal versus noise. You're assuming that you have all the signal and all these different inferences and insights, but you may just have a bunch of a large amount of just garbage data. You may just have a bunch of trash. It's just you have billions of records of it. But I think it's the way they were in a crypt. I think data science was still kind of becoming a thing back then. So people were becoming data engineers and data scientists, and the business didn't know what to do with this stuff. They're like, well, you guys are smart. Go figure out something. It definitely is a big mess. So no more big data, but still, I think it's just data.
Well, I think the problems they're still the same. We have data sprawl. We have governance problems. We have, we can't build an LLM because we don't know where everything is. We have duplication like issues. There's 7 of this. And then who was I talking to last week? But basically it was like, if we make a change here, it doesn't change there, and there, where it's in 5 different silos. And now there's this this company created, it's a semantic layer that one change changes everything.
Yep.
And I'm like, so that was a problem. So now this data would be bad if you change it over here. Like, I don't know how, not saying I don't know how you sleep at night, but like that just all these things, these nuances, these gears, and you look at dashboard sprawl. Like, I don't even want to know how many dashboards we have at our shop. Like I have just a folder on, and it's probably 300 deep of dash. I have like 2 subfolders deep of all the dashboards I have,
Yeah, and I think that's where, AI is becoming like the shining tool, but the fundamentals are still the same. I mean, it's like football. You can talk about all the different new spread offenses or like Wildcat, all the different offenses, but it's still like core blocking, tackling. Yeah. You still need the basics. So
in the end zone.
so I think even data world, like that's why I think you see a lot of people going back to data engineering. So data science was huge, but a lot of those folks end up just working with core data engineering. Like you said, you need a strong you need a platform, you need the data, has to be organized, has to be governed, so you can pull information from it. You have to have strong use cases. So I think the basics are there. It's just that now you have this big shiny tool called AI that you can use to make things faster, smarter, but if you're missing out on those basics, everything's all going to fall apart. So
if you think about it though, like, you guys, global company, global brand name, household known, like data has to be their most valuable asset. Like not even close second place. You make one not saying one bad decision, but I'm just saying like that
it's how we drive the business.
It's everything.
It's how we drive the, and that's the whole part of scale. I mean, once you get past, a certain revenue, you need to have your eyes on the business. Think about it. We're about to go into Thanksgiving for my company, Carhartt. Like it's our busiest time of year. Yeah. Like this is our prime time. So when you think about, we call Turkey 5 essentially it's, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Like there's a huge amount of sales going on.
Yeah.
And we need to know what's going on within the business. So you need to see the revenue, because all of a sudden if you see the revenue have something weird, it's one of those indicators of something's going on in the business. The website can have issues. Maybe our stores are having inventory problems. Isn't there a Cloudflare issue yesterday? Yeah,
today, this morning.
Today.
I overheard someone talking about it, and he said he was trying to pay for something online, and his credit card wasn't going through. He goes, "I know I got money on the card," and he goes, "Yeah, Cloudflare was gone." I'm like, "What?"
The funny thing was, Down Detector was down
because of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, AWS had an issue a couple weeks ago too, because that's when that's
always DNS.
Yeah. That's when you realize how all the different companies using AWS. I remember like Eventbrite wasn't working.
Yeah.
We used Smartsheet wasn't working. All these different websites were working. So you forget about how many different websites using like a lot of the same kind of cloud.
Shout out to my Microsoft and Google friends that they all took the high road because they're like, it could, then I chatted with a couple and they're like, yeah, it could be us next week. So we're taking the high. I'm like, good for you, man.
Oh yeah.
Because if Cisco had a problem, like I remember when I was at HP and Cisco, when their server blades came out and they were in a rack. And if you zoomed in on it, they were like, this is our, like the reveal.
Yeah.
And they were off like an 1/8 inch on a tilt. And the guy zoomed in on it and they published it. It was all over LinkedIn going, but I'm like, you guys are tomorrow. Like this, like, I'm glad IT, like we all kind of understand we're all friends.
Yeah. It can happen to anybody. I think you also feel bad because you know that those people are up 24/7.
Yeah.
That CTO is probably yelling at everybody, like, what's going on?
Who's
like, who do you need to call? Yeah. Who's getting fired? How did this happen? Because you're losing millions of dollars of revenue. That's also service interruptions. I'm sure your contract calls for if there's any service interruptions, that bill's not getting paid.
Right. And it's Skippy on Patch Tuesdays pushing a DNS and fell asleep and didn't see the server reboot through.
It's funny.
It probably was.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned blades. I remember the early 2000s, just everything was like blades and appliances.
Hot swap.
The huge just infrastructure and the huge server and appliances everyone was buying because it was faster compute and everything was bigger and faster. And then 2007, I remember when I first heard about cloud, everyone's like, what the heck is cloud? And then boom, all of a sudden like that took over the world.
So we're still in a hybrid IT world.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, I'm not saying regression from cloud, but I'm seeing like they're getting really granular on individual workload and where's the best place for them. Going through application rationalization. I think that's, it's an underrated thing right now. Because like what did guy said this morning, he went through the AI translation tool to get something in a different language.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a German company. And it was like a 1.3 megabit file. And it grabbed the whole entire Excel thing, which was like 40,000 long and whatever, double Z wide. And it was like $1,300 for each one. He goes, we got a $50,000 bill. And he goes, that's the last time I'm using that. And then there was another story where it was a DDoS attack and their cloud bill was like 200,000 and they weren't even, that instance was just for like not even live.
Yeah, imagine that conversation. We had to go tell your CFO, like, why is we blew our budget. We blew our cloud budget like in the first couple months of the year. And why? Well, because someone ran this code or someone did this by accident and we didn't have any limits on it. And then
Randy, goes back to my Ghostbusters theory. I think it's true. I think the viruses were all created by Symantec and by McAfee back in the day. Then they'd pay some Turkish kid $500,000 and he'd release it, and then they would sell a shit ton of virus licenses.
Yeah,
I don't know if you subscribe. I still have that theory. The DDoS attack was from, the call was from inside the house. I'm.
Yeah, I saw that.
I want a conspiracy theory when there isn't one, so I make up these stories and then I think it's funny.
It's an interesting world we're in. Like, it's this big hybrid. I remember back in the early 2000s when everything went offshore. All of a sudden, everyone to offshore developers. We don't need IT. Then all of a sudden, people realize it's way more expensive. Quality was terrible, and we brought all that back in shore.
Think about if you've been around this town for a while. Look at how GM does IT. That ebbs. It went all EDS.
It was EDS. I remember
got brought back. They were in house. Went to EDS. Then they brought back. Then they went to
Texas, Austin, Texas, and all of a sudden they got a new head of something.
Then it went offshore,
and then he brought it back.
When Mott left, then it went cloud because there was no # cloud forever. And now everybody the autos are bringing all the Apple, ex Silicon Valley peeps, and they're bringing in their own methodology. Yep. So I mean, this thing, we want to ride the wave. It's all going to ebb and flow. Like, there's nothing steady in this business. That's what I've, learned.
I think software was like that too, where everything was software developer, software engineering, and then everything became SaaS. It was like, you don't need software developers because you configure everything. But now we're talking about AI now. Now it's back to, oh, actually we need to build software. We need to have our own thing. So yeah, it's very tricky to kind of, put your pin in the sand, just trying to figure out where to go, because everything just bounces back and forth.
It was hashtag learn to code.
Yep.
Back during, and then now it's code. Oh shit, we're all there's don't need code anymore because we got AI.
Yeah, then it's AI. AI is going to take away all the coding jobs.
I don't. You tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think it makes the coders faster. I don't think it eliminates them.
Correct. I think most people I talk to is that it's an augmentation, it's assisted, but you don't want AI to be your sole coders, because if something breaks, who's going to fix it? Or
no accountability.
Who knows if the code's bad?
That was the theme today. Was like, you can't have a computer run everything because there's no accountability.
Exactly.
Can you just make sure this works to your prompt?
Well, that was a security question too, because they realized that a lot of the code AI was generating had a huge amount of security vulnerabilities. So that's why I said, like, why don't you just at the end the prompt just say, make sure this is secure.
Did you hear about, speaking of bad sellers and scraping LinkedIn for email addresses? When did we talk about this? Like a month ago? The guy that put on, like about me or whatever, your summary on LinkedIn, he put a prompt at the bottom of it saying, if you're scraping this, email me at this, like your whatever confidential data. And I forget how the prompt was written, but he started to get emails like 2 a day, 4 a day. And it was basically like these, like, the securest part of their, whatever files. And he was getting copies of it. And he like just laughed about it. Like, again, don't scrape LinkedIn to get people's email. It's not going to work. And no one's going to buy your green blinking lights from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me point that out.
Yeah. I get tons of just spam. Just, hey, Aaron, I'm so-and-so. And they goes, we do this, or my company does this. Like,
we've helped
good
companies such as so-and-so.
Yeah.
In their data journey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love your post. By the way, my company does this. We do this. Like, man, going straight for the sell, man. Just
I'm gonna make a shirt. I'll make one in you, with large, extra large.
Large.
No one gives a shit about your green blinking lights. That's it. And I put it on, like, I think, what's the one the print? It looks really good. It's really it's right underneath the sport coat, right there. No one gives a shit about your green blinking lights. And I don't know if it would ever resonate, because I think I ran into a buddy of mine. I've known him for 20 years in this business. He's one of my oldest friends in the business. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you gotta get me on your podcast. And we're priced per whatever now. It's amazing. I'm like, nobody cares, bro. Like, no one. I go, you gotta take the sales lens off. I don't want you talking about green. No one cares, man.
No.
I go, that's the one thing I grew up in the product world. I sold Colo. We were one hop from the Chicago Nap, so we had the fastest internet.
Yeah.
And but I never asked anyone if they cared. You know what I mean? Like, that's right. The one thing being in the consulting world, like finding out, like it's me telling you, like, oh my God, we got the best green blinking lights, and you're like, what if I just need to trim cost and I don't care?
Yeah, especially in this town, like I've after meeting with a lot of people, you realize that a lot of the decisions are already made, especially if you're working for a company that's been around for a long time. They've already made like a lot of their decisions. They're just making like very small tweaks or upgrades, but like the very large scale decisions about like infrastructure, networking, software, like they've already made a lot of those decisions.
Those are 3-year decisions.
Correct.
Typical of those contracts. Yeah.
And they usually go with the big names. Like, we're very heavy, and that's
Gartner top right.
Yes. Gartner, Magic Quadrant. You're going to see Microsoft. You're going to see AWS. So that's actually part for our conference. We were intentional about bringing a lot of vendors that people didn't know about, because we just wanted to have much more exposure. A lot of people are trying to get into the Detroit market, and I think there are people who have some new challenges where it's nice to go with someone that's not Microsoft. So we did kind of bring in some sponsors who were kind of smaller names that people didn't know around here, just because, like, there are some other people out there other than just Microsoft, doing things. But they're actually like usable solution. They're not just like a random, product that no one's ever heard about, no one's going to care about. Like,
CXO Exchange does that with the security startups. They bring in, because Randy and I are podcasting there December 4th, I think it is, the CXO Exchange, and it's pretty much these companies that were like, I didn't ever heard of them.
Yeah.
But like here you have these CISOs that are going, yeah, we use them. They're awesome. Here's why. and it's not about the green blinking lights. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day too, like sometimes like a white glove, if you just have someone that's super attentive, you know what I mean? It goes.
Yeah. I mean, I always ask you, like, do you know the name of your Microsoft sales rep? Probably not. Like, or if you've had the same one for the years, probably, he's going to be gone pretty soon. Like the big companies, like it's hard to get or a call back. Because some people are like, I just want to call back. Like this thing breaks. Yeah. I just need to call a number, have someone tell me, like walk me through like troubleshooting that customer success and things like that. But these bigger firms, it's very difficult to get that. But it's also, you don't want to go too small where you're like, yeah, you guys aren't really like a company yet. Like this is not a thing. I'm not gonna put my entire like career on the line, budget on the line for this small company, and you may not even be around, a year from now.
So some of them like for your instance, it would be like I'm a retail specialist, but I also live in Denver. So they took away like the local sales teams, but they have people that are super specialized and they know your business.
Yeah,
but they can't take you out to breakfast.
I'm learning that. I learned that during the conference too. Is pre-COVID, a lot of the companies had like a region. They have regional reps.
Yeah,
they would have all the dinners at steakhouses, take you out to eat and all that. But a lot of these companies, your rep is like, with Salesforce and Tableau. I met the guy. He's out in Denver.
Yeah.
Microsoft. A lot of those guys. What they do is they'll fly in for like an event and they all go back home. But very few companies have actual like local folks. Or I've seen some of them are regional. Some of them are account based. Some of them are industry based. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's just, I don't know if it's just the Detroit area, but it is different kind of how it plays in this area because, we don't have like you don't have reps, or they have like the sales office. Google has a sales office, or Microsoft has their office, but no one works out of there. They just kind of come in.
Well, it depends who.
Yeah.
We could talk after the show, like, who, like the rep, like 'cause the reps were all there.
Yeah.
It depends who you are.
Yeah, correct.
Not saying that you're not worthy, but there's a big gap into like who gets what. Yeah. And then like some other ones, you might have a rep that has 75 accounts, and unless you're billing, like you might get a call every 3 months, every 6 months, like, and it's just one of those.
Yeah, revenue is part of how much you're spending with them.
Yeah, what's your initiatives this year? Can we
Yeah, how much are they going to get out of you? Because if you're not going to get, you may not get a dedicated rep, or you may be shared with 100 folks because you're only spending, I don't know, $1 million. Yeah. So they're like, okay, that's great, but I got other companies that are going to spend way more. They're going to get more love.
It's the 80-20 rule. I remember when I was at Cisco, 20 partners did 80% of their revenue. So they decided to put all the money in to those 20. Well, guess what happens? If you're not on that radar list, you get ignored. So what did they do? They merged with them. They bought them. They wanted to get to be number 19. How do we get there? And you're $2 billion. We're $2.5 billion. We're going to merge now. We're going to call it Stupid Y Company. And now Stupid Y is going to be number 18. And now we get love.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what there was a lot of these small niche. I saw them all. They were all getting gobbled up.
Yeah.
And now you can see them around town. There's only 5 or 6, partners, like, and who they are, but they were 30, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah. We even saw that in like the data consultants, like a lot of them either shut down or I'm seeing a lot of acquisitions in like the partner space. There's people joining up or just getting gobbled up because they have a very like specialty skill set. So they just got acquired for that. It's a very interesting time, especially I think this area is very interesting because you have the large legacy companies like, you got GM, you got Ford, even Carhartt's been around for 130 plus years. And you have a lot of these like mid-tier and smaller tiers.
Is it really that old?
Yeah, 1889.
I had no idea.
Yep, in Detroit, 136 years.
That's crazy.
Older than Ford Motor Company.
I was going to say.
GM.
Yeah.
We don't fraction the revenue.
Tan jackets on the line and back in Dearborn, yeah.
That's what it's. So it's been interesting, like going through the conference, just trying to, or doing this whole Data in the D thing, just the dynamics of the Metro Detroit area and just how much, just a large industry we have, like the big industries. You got Rocket out there. You have the smaller companies, and just with software and like, because I think what I've found is that there are a lot of software companies and vendors trying to get into the Detroit market. Mm-hmm. However, they're not here, so they don't have the relationship. So they're like, that's why they came to us for the conference. They're like, hey, you guys got this conference. Like, we save them a lot of time. They're like, because even some of them have said they've tried to like do like a Tigers game. No one shows. They have events. No one shows up to them. So like, we're spending all this money or this budget, but no one's showing up to their event. So there are a lot of companies trying to get into the Detroit market, they're looking for people who can connect them and feel, okay, who's the connectors that can kind of, they can tap into to make introductions. Yeah, but it's a very interesting time.
We try to, like, and you look at all the big companies in West Michigan, and they're even like, oh, you're from Detroit. You know, you get that, like, all right, I'll change my name to Vander Waltenspiel, and then maybe they'll talk to me. You know what I mean? It's if I grew up like, and if you look, and it's funny, if you look at the big companies, you look at the reps that are out in West Michigan, they've had the accounts for 10, 8, 12, 14 years. It's like unheard of on this side of the state because they get shuffled all the time.
Oh yeah, think about your major companies. It's all. I mean, I know even Microsoft. We had a Microsoft rep, but I know Microsoft just did like this big industry reshuffling. Yep. So we just got a brand new guy, and I talked to the Microsoft guy at the MTC downtown. He's like, yeah, we just did a whole entire reorg. He's like, even I don't know who my customers are. So yeah, it's like in this like technology, software partners, vendors. It's an interesting world that a lot of people who are not in enterprise or not in technology don't really understand, but it's just it's a lot of our work is just trying to talk to partners, talk to vendors, reps, customer sales reps. It's a whole thing.
And you got to innovate and you got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And you have to prove your worth to the business, and you have to,
it's definitely like, and this, like, it's funny. It's like, it's things they don't teach you in college. Like when you went to school or you started off, like, everyone thinks they're just gonna be a coder. Everyone wants to be an engineer or coder. But once you raise up in leadership, there's all these other dynamics around budgeting, finance, HR, is all these different things. You have to, because you realize you don't build your own stuff. Usually you're using vendors for 80% of it. So, and
you're in sales. I don't care what, you can fight me to the Thunderdome. That's my biggest with when I meet like techies, and I said, you're in sales. Right? They're like, sales. I am not. Oh, at least you get it.
Yeah, sales and marketing.
I used to have fight, and I'm like, you got to sell your boss. You got to sell for a budget. You have to do projects. I go,
you have to justify. You have to justify why it's a good use of your money. You have to market and say, hey, we had a big. I mean, that's what I've learned in the past couple of years is like you have to market your stuff. No one knows what you did. You have to market it and say like, this is what I did. This is why people care about it. Because you need that to get more funding and more money to do more stuff and more headcount. Because people think that, they should just know my values. Like, nope, no one knows. No one's paying attention. No one cares. It's what have you done for me lately, or what's in it for me.
Welcome to being in sales. You hit the year in Q1, then you miss Q2 and Q3. Then they're like, yeah, well, maybe we don't want you around.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the marketing, like that's what going through the conference, like. The amount of like reaching like the DMs, cold outreach, like a large amount of just like, because most people just don't, they're in their own, they don't really know you exist until like you directly reach out to them and say like, hey, we're doing this thing, we're going, we're trying to do this, we'd love to invite you. About half the people won't respond. Other people that do respond, only a percentage of them will actually like, be interested. So yeah, I had a huge crash course in just kind of marketing and life of a salesperson, like trying to sell the conference and try to sell why people should show up on a Saturday in November.
Did you have what was your show up rate? Was good? I'm taking it. It was good.
Yeah,
because you always like if you have something where you don't pay, it's. I've always been scared of that model, but also if you have like 200 RSVPs, like 120 are showing up.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this.
The table with the badges, it's always like, well, who didn't show?
Yeah, we had about we charged about 100. We charged $100. So our range was 5 to 10% no show. So we kind of oversold it because we knew that some people weren't show. So I think of the 100 plus, I think we had like 10 people.
Oversubscription, you can't do that.
Tricks of the trade. That people who sign up months in advance have things that come up and they just don't show up, especially if their company is paying for them to show up. Then even then they don't show up.
Well, that 2-week cough is going around. Oh my God, I know so many people that have it, and they haven't. Like Saturday that's interesting too. Like I can see why you do that because you don't have to rip a day of work.
Well, that was a test. That was a huge.
But then on my Saturday, man, I want to do nothing.
It was a big gamble in the beginning because we didn't know in this town if people would do that. But we had
no one else does it.
Correct. But I think it's a different audience, right? Because if you do it during the week, people are distracted. They're getting emails. They're jumping on meetings. So it's like we wanted to attract a crowd who actually who actually enjoy this stuff. They're a captive audience. They're paying attention. But we also know there's a large amount of people who couldn't come because of family, things like that. So I would say we still got around 150 people to show up. So to me, it was a major success.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Because we got people to show up on a Saturday in November.
Seriously, no,
from 8 to 4.
Off, no, hats off. Yeah, we're gonna Data in the D. Make sure you follow them on LinkedIn. Make sure you have a website yet?
Yeah, datainthed.org.
Oh, you did. .org. Oh, fancy.
Yeah. Because of the conference. So the conference forced us to get a website and to get all those things established. So yeah, datainthed.org. Our next meetup event is
not .ai. You didn't want to do that.
I'm sure. I think we got it through Squarespace. I'm sure we got all. You know, you do the package where you get .org, .com, .edu, and all that kind of stuff. You get all that stuff.
What is .io anyway? I see it all the time.
I wonder. People use it as like input output, thing. But it's probably some country or something that's repurposed.
Domain I've been trying to buy, Randy, for 15 years.
What's that?
Detro.it. I think that was
Italy. That's Italy, right?
Yeah, it's Italy. And it's been someone has it. And they don't, every time you say you want to buy, they're like 20 grand. I'm not buying you 20 grand for a domain.
Yeah, people.io. People use it for like input output or like techie sounding stuff. It is the British Indian Ocean Territory.
Oh,
so it's like .tv is Tuvalu.
And I'm on at is like AT's Austria.
Or .fm is Federated States of Micronesia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not FM radio.
I thought it was like radio.
313.fm, isn't that still a thing?
Maybe, I don't know.
That was the coffee house down here.
Okay.
They used to have the techno DJs and it was 313.fm.
Well, now it's not even 313 anymore.
Box.
We ran out of numbers.
We did. Yeah, damn.
What were we?
Voice.
What are we? 687 now?
Some weird number that I feel bad for the folks who get that number because, I mean, 313 is legendary.
When I grew up, I was 810 in Macomb County, and then it went to 586, like I think when I was like 14 or something.
Yeah. I went to school out in Grand Rapids, so I had a 616.
Oh, fancy.
I have a 248 now because I work for a company in Novi, so I use their number. I just kept that number, so I have a 248.
Wasn't
number.
the father
still there?
It's really, it is. Wasn't father and son? It was like Tyler 87100. We do good work. The commercial that was here. That's when like before the area codes, it was like 2 letters in the beginning and then 5 numbers. Yeah, I'm old. I'm so old. My first phone number was 2. Jesus.
KL5.
That was a Yo Mama joke. Your mama's so old. Aaron, appreciate coming out. Appreciate you hanging out. Congratulations. Best of luck in future stuff. Definitely want to promote as much as possible for your data head. I try to, get the word out.
I appreciate you because we've had a lot of folks come our way that you guys have sent our way. They're like, we heard about you from Bob or IT in the Decent. So we really appreciate you guys partnering with us and just, referring people our way.
Yeah. Well, specialized content thing. That's why I think originally I called you because like, with the Scrum, with you guys, I go, that's the one thing, we're so generic. Well, people like, to find their people and they click off. So I'm like, how about you just,
Yeah, I think it's a cool time in Detroit because I think it's anyone who wants to build something, like this is the time to do it now. Like we built Day in the D out of nothing, just from some ideas. It's people are looking, I would say people are looking for community. People are looking to connect. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are remote. Like that's the number one thing I hear people saying. I work from home. I was looking up for a community and I found you guys. So I think this is the time now. Like companies are willing to invest in these things. Like this is the prime opportunity now in modern times to build stuff or get things going because people want to connect, people want to do things, and they want to get out of their houses.
We launched this because all the other groups sucked. Flat out.
Yeah.
I don't even want to tell you all the bad meetings I went to, like the chamber meetings.
Yeah.
The LBNs at 7 a.m.
Oh, good God!
Those were
never.
Brutal.
Yeah, and like we don't have competition. Like this is an open market. I'm not worried about someone like coming in to just take. I mean, have fun. If someone wants to come in and do more work than we do, sure. But like it's an open end right now. There's no.
We had when we did the pink slip parties and they were massive, and I remember somebody went and did a pink slip party and they were a recruiting firm. This was their only. We used to have 50, 60, 80, 100 recruiters at these events. It was just them. They tried to like corner the market.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, where's Bob? Or like I went to one and they thought it was mine. They go, dude, that event was ass. I go, that wasn't mine. I go, I saw you there. I go, I just wanted to see what this clown was doing. And so like we get a lot of that, like, you know, over the years, and then he would go away and then someone else, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've been,
but no one ever did it how you did it, going, I'm going to go in I'm going to niche within a niche. Oh, we thought we were a niche within a niche, IT community in Detroit. Now you went another niche.
Yeah. I mean, there's some AI, there's an AI group I know. I don't think they do. I think they do quarterly stuff, but even that's even a sub niche with ours. They're trying to kind of do a couple things.
My favorite is the old timer. Was it Semcog, Randy?
I remember Semcog. Yeah.
They still do events. They asked me to speak at one.
Are they still around?
Yeah.
I remember them
one of the guys comes here to our events pretty semi-regularly. We spoke at one a while ago. It was basically the guys that own ham radios, and we were on BBSs back at like, you know, back then. Oh, they're fantastic guys, but like, oh, they're propeller heads, man. Like it's wild. But no, seriously, thank you again. Congratulations, and look forward to your continued success and hanging out.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to wrap things up for this episode of IT and the D Show. On behalf of Bob and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.